Hello, people of the internets. Hello and welcome. Now I know it's been some time. No, I'm lying. Of course, it's not been some time. I know you probably will be asking yourself, David, this is literally the 4th time you've tried to make this live stream. When will it end? Yes, I know. I've really pushed it. And the thing is, every time I did this live stream, in one way or another, I kind of failed. So this is why I am now doing this live stream for the 4th time. What was that? Something fell down. Sorry, I just had to look. Something just fell down. There it is. Something I always I try to do this. So let me start again. I've done this now 4 times. This is the 4th time that I'm trying to show you iOS 14. On the first attempt, I actually did it, but I did some mistakes and I couldn't. Hi again. I know. Good morning from India. Good evening from Austria. No, the thing is, I'm doing it again because for people who were already at my live streams, the first one worked out, but I did some mistakes and I couldn't upload it as a full video. So I said, I want to do it again to make it good. And I also forgot, did I forget some features? I'm not sure. But anyway, I tried to do it again. And the other 2 times, I always had a mistake. Once, hey Adam, nice to see you also join the stream. I always had a mistake recording, something went wrong, and the last stream also in the end, like the very last moment, I made a mistake. So maybe now we'll actually pull it off. I'm sorry for people who have seen this live stream already, but for the others, this will be the last time I'm doing this, and hopefully now we'll do it. Yeah. So what will we do today? We're gonna have a look at iOS 14 Beta 1. I've installed it. I have it on my iPhone 11 actually since day 1. I'm not even joking. I have it since day 1. 2 hours after the keynote, I installed it. I'm that kind of guy. I always have to have the beta. I know it's risky to have it on your main phone, but I just love it. And every time they announce new features, I'm like, oh, I need it, So that's why I did it. And I got them. So I installed the Big Sur beta on my old Mac and it runs very well. Really? Nice. I heard that it was buggy though. That's why I'm a bit surprised by your comment now. Which Mac do you have? That would be interesting. You are unique. I'm unique. I don't know how to take that. I'll take it as a compliment, I hope. Alright. So now, without further ado, for the last time, and hopefully this time we'll do it, I'll show you iOS 14. Alright, so let's do it. Let's jump right in. No signal, that's good. We're starting off great. There we go. My phone. Alright, so let's go into iOS 14. What is happening today? iOS 14. And here we are. And immediately from the start, we can see the newest feature of iOS 14. And that is widgets. Yes, Apple has brought the feature from Android now to iOS. To iOS, and now finally we have widgets as well. Adam, it's a 2015 11 base model MacBook Air i5, 1.6 GHz processor, 4 GB of RAM. Ah, I see. Oh, that's a nice MacBook Air. Good job. Actually 11-inch. When did that get discontinued? Because I can't remember. I remember the smaller MacBook Air, but I can't remember when they discontinued it. Alright, awesome. Awesome to hear that it runs well. So yeah, they brought widgets to the iPhone. As you can see, I'm already using the weather widget and my calendar widget. Now, I love those widgets, I have to say. But before we go to my opinion, I'll just showcase the whole device. So, with the software. So we have now these widgets. As you can see, I have 3 here on my screen, on my home screen too, and 1 on this screen. And I have to tell you, now, how do you use those? Well, what you do is you long press on a widget, and then you either can, if you have already a widget, you can edit the widget. For example, on the weather widget, you can set it to which location it should show. Or if you go on edit home screen, all the apps start to wobble. Now what happens then? Well, we can either take the widgets that we already have and just move them around as we please. Or we can also do this here, of course. Or you see this plus here in the top left corner. If we click on that new plus, we'll get widgets. We'll get all the possible widgets that we can use. As you can see, there are lots of apps already, of course, all native apps that support this. Now, of course, in time, there'll be more and more widgets added, of course. And as soon as iOS 14 is out, third-party developers will also make widgets, and I can't wait for that already. But yeah, until now, of course, in the first beta, we have, of course, to deal with Apple's widgets. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at how those widgets work. Now let's take, for example, the music widget. If you're like me and you love music, then this is an important widget to you. Now, normally there are always 3 options of widgets. You have the small widget, the medium-sized widget, and the big widget. Now this is a really big widget, as you can see, and it takes about half your screen, I would say. Let's just check. See, I can't even place it here anymore because it's too big, but it should be half the page. All right. I'll just gonna show you some. So this is the stocks app, small one, really big one, medium-sized one, which I'm using. Again, a small one. So you have even 2 options. It's a really small one where you can just pick one stock that's really important to you, or a couple of stocks. So that's one. And what could be interesting for a couple of you is that iOS 14 still is supported for iPhone SE and iPhone 6s and up. So all the iPhones that got iOS 13 also get iOS 14, which is amazing. I didn't think that they would actually do that, but they did. And therefore, of course, since the iPhone SE is still a phone with quite a small display to today's standard, Apple probably has added this feature, and that's the Smart Stack. Now, what is the Smart Stack? Well, it's a widget, or it's widgets in one little widget, or multiple widgets in one widget, which you can swipe through, that actually are created via machine learning. So what happens if we just add here the small Smart Stack is, if we click on OK, we can actually flick through a couple of different widgets here. As you can see, we have the stock, we have podcasts, we have my reminders, and all of that is done without actually taking up any space. And those widgets also change, of course, because the phone learns what you use, what apps you often use, and then says, okay, maybe we should put this into the Smart Stack. Now, I think it will depend on how well this machine learning will work, if Smart Stacks are really the way to go or not. But for smaller screens, I would say especially Smart Stack is a good way to not clutter your screen with a lot of widgets, but still get a lot of widgets. All right, so let's continue with the functionality of the widget. So what can we do? Well, I showed you already, if we long press, we can edit widgets. So for example, we can also say, do not mirror calendar, but we'll leave it. And there are 2 functions of these, of course. Yeah, even the iPhone 6s is still supported. I love that they did that. Amazing support. That's a big factor, for actually a big argument for buying iPhone. You have long OS support. That's awesome. I love that they do that. And I saw yesterday, I saw iOS 14 beta 1 running on Manfred's iPhone SE. Works like a charm. He said it works perfectly. Battery life is not that good, but I mean, it's a beta after all. It's the first beta. That's kind of normal for a beta on the slower phones, slower supported phones, so to say. But performance is awesome, he said. So first of all, 2 functions that we get with these widgets. Of course, we have a preview. For example, weather. I can always go to my home screen and see, okay, this is how the weather's gonna turn around in the next hour. This is how the weather will be in a couple of hours. And I can also use it as a shortcut. Let's say I'm looking here and say, okay, at midnight it's probably gonna rain, but how about 1 o'clock? I can just click on the widget, it unfolds, and I get to my weather app. And when we're already in there, we can discuss another feature, and that feature has to do with the fact that Apple actually bought a weather app, an Android weather app, which I don't remember the name yet, but it was a very popular Android app, and Apple canceled the app for Android entirely, because of course, and they used the features of the app to do the following. Now inside the app, with selected cities and countries, we have also air quality, which is nice. I think it's very well done. But as I already told you, selected cities. So what does that mean? Well, for example, here in Germany, all German cities, for example, have air quality. That's what I already found out. For example, Hamburg, a very nice German city at the sea. If you haven't been there yet, check it out. It's a very nice city. And here we have air quality. But for example, if we go to Graz, for example, Austrian city, Styrian capital, you don't have that. So it depends for now from country to country, but anyway, I mean, that will expand this will expand the more iOS 14 gets developed and the more the years pass on, I think. So in a couple of years, probably everyone will have this functionality. But it's nice that they added it. All right. The same, of course, goes for the calendar widget. I actually think a very useful widget because you can just look at your home screen. And with this very small widget, you have a lot of functionality because you can see, first of all, what's up, what will be the next thing that I have to do. It even shows you like an outlook, which I didn't know. I just saw this today for tomorrow. So for example, tomorrow I'll have my hair cut and it shows this already because it's coming up. And that's very nice. You also see when. So that's very nice because it helps you if you're kind of like me and you easily forget things. Then this kind of helps a lot. So yeah, and even here, if I say okay, I can't read the title fully, I can just press on it and then there I can look at it. And while we're already in the calendar app, Apple talked about a lot of features, but there are also some small, design changes or refinements, I would say. For example, if you look at, could you do that always? I didn't know. Was it always possible to zoom in like that? I'm actually kind of amazed. I didn't know maybe that always was possible and I just realized it for the first time. This seems interesting. Yeah, thank you. I hope it's interesting. But actually, if you look at your events that are gonna happen, you can see that it's all a bit more rounded off, I would say. And if you look, for example, if you want to create an event, this looks like always, right? This looks like normal iOS 13 creating an event on your calendar. But if you type something in, let's say test, and then we go in here, you'll see something has changed. Actually a big design difference, right? First of all, we have the whole month view, and we can just select a day, like it's a calendar. And I love that, for example, this is very useful because I don't know about you guys, but I really have a hard time knowing which weekday it is when someone tells me, how about we meet on the 9th? And I'm like, okay, this is, well, which weekday is that? Hold on, which weekday? And I'm like, oh God, wait, let me just count. And this helps a lot because then I can just say, oh yeah, it's this and this day. So I really like that they added that. And also one thing that they changed, which is great. You remember when setting the time, you always had this circle, so to say. You could scroll through and it always went in 5-minute steps. So they could do 8 p.m. 5, 8 p.m. 10, 8 p.m. 15, 8 p.m. 20, and so on and so on. But what is, and I had this a couple of times when you wanted to say, well, I want to meet at 8:12. You couldn't do it because it always was 5 steps for some reason. I don't know why, but now you can just go in and type it out. For example, let's say 9:12. That's it, just works. So that finally works as well. Thank you, Apple. So yeah, that's small, but actually I would say not negligible difference in the calendar app as well. Another thing that they did, and that's a big design difference when we already talk about widgets, there are bigger widgets, as I showed you already, and even here on the iPhone 11, which is a big phone, I would say it's a bigger phone, definitely. It's not a Max, of course, but it's a bigger phone. Even then, I wouldn't put a very big widget on my home screen because it takes up half my display. I don't want that. And what Apple thought about it, and if you swipe to the left, you'll get a full page dedicated to all your widgets. And the great thing is you can just say yes. You hold on the widget, edit, and you can also customize this page. And you go here and you customize all of that as much as you please. So that's very nice. And as you see, I already set this up. So I have this nice music widget there. Even here I have my calendar in small format, a little bit of weather here. And I love this widget. I have to tell you, I don't know about you, but I always want to be kind of up to speed. But sometimes I just don't get around to looking at, for example, the newspaper. And here I can just, you know, I'm on my phone, for example, I'm waiting for someone. I'll swipe to the left and look at the 4 newest news. And this already works perfectly. I can just look, okay, this is what's happening in the world. I can click on something, then it opens up the page and I can just read it. So that's very nice. So I love this widget. And yes, you can also have this widget in smaller format if you don't like that. If you just like a smaller format, if you want it on your home screen, of course, that's possible as well. And another widget that I find also very useful, you can see it in the bottom right corner. That's battery percentage. Like this widget here shows the battery life of every device that is connected to your iPhone, including, of course, your iPhone. So you see on the left my iPhone and on the right my Apple Watch, which has a bit of low battery life. And this is always up to date. This is like, you can trust this device, this widget. This is the battery life you have. And you can also enlarge this widget. I mean, I can show you how the bigger variant of this widget looks. So there's this one that I'm using. I think this is sufficient because the widget, the icons tell you immediately which phone this is. You could also go for this if you want the percentage, the exact percentage, or if you want the full-on name, you could have it too. So a big variety of things to do. You have a lot to choose from. All right. So I love that they added that feature, so that they have this widget page here. So you just don't have to clutter up all of your pages. You can just have this nice widget page here. So I really like that, and I enjoy widgets a lot in iOS 14. That's probably the biggest cosmetic change. But there's another one. Now I have a lot of apps on my phone, really a lot. I probably don't even use it, all of them, to be honest. But anyway, but you look here and you see down there on the dots, I only have 2 pages. But how can that be if I have a lot of apps? Well, actually a lot of my apps are hidden. Yes, you can actually hide pages in iOS 14. So what do? Again, you press and hold on an app. You go on edit home screen, and then you can see there's a little, there's a little frame around the dots, and you press on that, and then it shows all of your app pages that exist. And you can say, okay, I want all of them shown, or you say, no, I want to hide them. You can hide all but the home screen. But I always say, well, I want 2 pages, and that's fine. Now you might say, all right, but what if I want, like, I don't know, an app that isn't on those 2 pages? What do I do then? Well, yes, you could do the following. Just swipe down and search for it, like everyone does it. Or you swipe once again after the last page, and you get to a new feature. And that's the app media that Apple calls it. And what you see here are folders that Apple makes themselves. So this is also machine learning, and it groups them into social media, entertainment, creativity, productivity, and this is all done by itself with machine learning. And what you will notice, the more you use your iPhone under iOS 14, the more this alignment will change. So the apps aren't static. This won't stay the same. What this means is the more you use an app, the more prominent it gets here on this display. For example, I've been using the weather app, the calendar app, stocks sometimes, photos app, WhatsApp, Skype, YouTube, and those apps start to get bigger and bigger so that I can access them way faster. So this page here tries to guess what app might I be searching for, and it says, hey, this could be the one that you need. All right, so that's that one thing. Another thing actually that's possible, as you see this up here, there's a search field, and finally, Apple has done what Android always had. We have an app drawer. So essentially we can say, I don't know, I need the app was something with G, and it shows me all apps with G. It was something with M, shows me all apps with M, and all like that. So that's very nice. Hey mate, thanks for being in the live stream. Manfred just wrote me that he's also watching the live stream. Hey there, mate. I'll probably send you another voice message just saying. And if you're in the live stream, could you, if I tell you, that's nice actually, that's pretty good. Could you, if you are in the live stream, could you actually, as soon as I tell you, call me so that I can show you people how this looks on iOS? That would be very nice, mate. All right. So what I wanted to continue is finally we have an app drawer. And I have to say, at first I was like, oh, do I really need that, you know? But it's actually quite useful because I have 2 pages hidden. I just have to swipe twice and I'll get to this page and I can just click and search Geek and I have all the Geek benches here. So actually finding apps is faster now for me. In a way it looks also is very well designed. I love how they made it look. Looks really nice, simplistic. That's the kind of things that Apple excels at, in my opinion. Manfred just sent me a pic. I think I can show you. Well, let me try actually. Yeah, he wanted to show us how it looks on the iPhone SE. There. So this is what I meant exactly. Thanks for showing, Manfred. This is exactly what I meant with big widgets on a smaller screen. So this is the iPhone SE. So thanks for showing that for us, mate. So those are probably the biggest cosmetical changes with iOS 14. Actually quite some major changes, I would say. But now we get to the more nitty-gritties. It's actually not nitty-gritty. I don't know why I used that word. Anyway, so there are always, as you saw already with the calendar app, there are some here and there some minor design improvements. And there's one actually app that I think improved a lot, and that's the music app. Now I love music. I listen to music daily. I can't live without music. I don't know about you guys. So so what has changed in the music app? Well, if we look here at the icons in the bottom row, we can actually see, guys, wait a second. I just noticed something. Just give me a second. And here we are again. Sorry, a little interruption. You know, when you're living in a household, sometimes someone walks in. So we're back. Okay, so what I wanted to say with the music app. All right, so if you look at the bottom row, we have different kind of icons now, a little bit redesigned, redefined. And if we look here, for example, on the, wait, no, this is it, search bar, we see redesigned like suggestions that Apple does. For example, we can go to chill and we can look at music Apple has curated for us, which we might like some Adele music, Joe Bonamassa, I probably butchered it, Bob Marley, Frank Sinatra, all those classics. Actually very well chosen. Good job, Apple. And we can choose that, or we can of course search. So I'll just type in, Manfred will love what I'm doing now. We can type in, no, we're gonna type in the Slash Street Boys. If you don't know them, find out who they are. And of course now we can't find anything. I'm just making this up. So let's do something useful actually. Let's search for Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi. So, and if you look at the top now, filtering your results is way easier now, and I think in a nicer designed way. You just click here on the top results, or you want to just have the artists, you want to have albums, or you actually want to have titles, playlists, radios. So you can search for a lot, and it's very well done and nicely designed. Now if we go to our media, there's something even easier. What we can do is we go here, and you see the playlists also have been a bit redesigned. Everything has been a bit more centered, and here you see a little graphic. Like the only real graphical bug I've noticed so far in iOS 14 beta 1, which is incredible actually, where you can see I think that the picture this might be just my opinion, I think the picture is way too big, and you see the alignment isn't fully right, so the text is stuck way too much to the picture and here down there to the buttons. But that's surely just a graphical glitch, and that will be fixed of course in further betas. But you can see how they want to do it and how they want to design it. So yeah, I actually really like the way this looks. And one, like, it's a small thing, but Apple hasn't talked about this, and I don't know why, because I think this is a big difference actually. When you play a song, a background matches the album art, and I love it, and it's even animated. Now if I, for example, don't worry, there's no sound, no copyright. If I turn this on, I think in this song you can see, let me just go to this for example. Can you see it here? You have to look for it because it's very subtle, but you can see it's always the color of the background is always matches always the album art, and I love it. It looks awesome. For example, here this yeah, very nice blue, and I think here you can even see it. Like, it's very subtle. You can see the gradients moving in the background. Yeah, you can see it, definitely. You can see the gradients moving a bit in the background, pulsating. I love that. I love Rick's look in the music player. I mean, this is nothing new. This has already been here since iOS 13, but can we talk about how nice this looks? All right, so that's the music app. Also, nice refinements, actually big refinements, I would say. All right, but now we come to another big feature of iOS, and that's picture in picture. Now, this is a feature that I completely underestimated, because when I heard about picture in picture, I always thought, who would use picture in picture on a phone? Like, is that even necessary? I thought that, and now that I've used it for a couple of days, I have to say, as soon as you use it once, and you'll see it now, there it is, as soon as you use it once, you are thinking, oh my god, where was this feature? I need it in my life. It's actually, and I have to say, I was completely wrong about it. Now, I don't know, Manfred could maybe tell this because he's in the comments right now. How is picture-in-picture on a smaller display? Like, does it make it the same sense? Because this is surely a feature that's more tailored towards bigger displays. Because here, I mean, here even if I make the picture like maximum size, by the way, you can see I can crop, pinch, make the video bigger dynamically, it doesn't matter. And even here on the controls, I can go 15 seconds back, 15 seconds forward. So that's very nice, and I can push it up, push it down. And another little detail that I love about Apple, and that's just the little things that I just like about them designing stuff. They always think about the little things. And look at this video where it's right now. As soon as I pop the keyboard up, without me doing anything, the video moves up so that it doesn't block the keyboard, because it knows I want to type something in, obviously. And as soon as I go out again, it moves back to the position that I had it before. It's those little things, you know what I mean? And again, this is the minimum size, by the way, if you are wondering. It doesn't make as much sense as on a bigger screen. Yeah, it's still nice to have, I agree with you, but yeah, that's what I was thinking on a smaller screen. I think you won't use it as much. Oh yes, it would be definitely useful on an iPad. I fully agree with you. On an iPad, that must be a dream, because you could make it as big as you want, and still, even if you make it probably minimum size, it would be more than serviceable. And the thing is, again, what's also awesome, as you can see, this is a YouTube video, right? Now, I'm sure as soon as iOS 14 drops, there you go, by the way, we can see, I can't hear you right now, mate. People can't hear you. Wait, no. Yeah, and I did a mistake, mate. But you, but you can see that's how it looks. If I press on the player, you can see that it turns into normal mode again. But that's also a notification. Thanks for calling, mate. So yeah, that's another feature that you could see. So if Manfred calls me, it comes down as a drop-down notification, and not it doesn't in the first place block my whole screen when I'm using my phone. That's also very nice, and I also can leave it like that in a small notification and still use my phone. I just pressed on the notification and then it gets big again. Another nice thing that Apple did. What I wanted to say about picture-in-picture actually is, if you as you can see, this is a YouTube video. The YouTube app right now doesn't support that, obviously, but as soon as iOS 14 drops, I'm sure they'll support it too. But for now, you can use Siri. You can use Safari and just do that with the YouTube videos from Safari. So that's very nice. Another thing is actually, and I don't get why, but Twitch, for some reason, supports this. The Twitch app already supports picture-in-picture on iPhone. Did they already update it? I can't imagine that they did, but oh my god. I mean, kind of crazy that it's supported already. So yeah, that's the thing. Twitch app already has it, which is very nice. Actually, that's the feature that's the moment where I realized how nice picture-in-picture is. I was watching a live stream and I wanted to add a music to my playlist that I heard in the live stream, and I didn't have to close the live stream. I could just go picture-in-picture and I could just type in the music, add it, and then go back to full screen mode in picture-in-picture. So that's very nice. Picture-in-picture is a nice feature in my opinion. Another thing that people will say, oh, Apple looked at Google and said, hey, Google has Google Translator. You know what, we're going to do exactly the same. So now Apple has a built-in translator. And what can it do? Well, you can translate stuff, spoken stuff, from one language to another. So for example, I have it here in German, and I could now speak in the phone and it will automatically translate what I say in German so that you guys here can also understand it. So let's try it out. Hallo, das ist ein Test, ob mich die Leute auch wirklich verstehen mit dieser Übersetzungssoftware. And there you are. Hello, this is a test whether people really understand me with this translation software. And I have to say it really works well. As you can see, this wasn't quite a complicated sentence. Worked out perfectly. Now I can't judge how it works with other languages, because when I'm using like English to Spain or German to Spain, I am not that good to Spain to judge, but in Spain to judge, but in Spain it's Spanish, of course, in Spanish to judge. But anyway, it looks like, from what I can tell, that it works really nice. And you could even go in landscape mode, and then it turns into a really interesting and useful feature. Then one side can actually talk in English, and one could talk in German. So for example, the English side starts and talks in English. So if you were talking to someone who speaks English, but you can't understand English, he could talk into the phone, it gets translated to you. Then you could talk in German into the phone and it gets translated to him, and that way you could communicate even though you both normally couldn't understand each other. So that's a very nice thing. I mean, yes, essentially it's Google Translator, but hey, Apple did it. So that's an app that you also get with iOS 14 from Apple. Good. Another thing, a smaller thing actually, is things that I'll now show you as pictures, because I don't want, of course, personal information to be leaked. So this is why I made those screenshots beforehand and censored them out. So this, when we were talking about little design refinements, this is what you also can expect in the contacts view. So everything's more rounded off. It's also boxy, rounded off. That's what you can expect when it comes to how boxes will look and how your contacts will look. Furthermore, if we go to messages, you can now also pin chats. So what you can do is, if you have a lot of chats, you could go to a chat, you swipe to the right on the chat that you want to pin. This yellow pin comes up, you click on that, and suddenly you have this bubble up here where your conversation will always be. So you always will have it at the top. And if someone writes something, you can even see it in the bubble. And you can even see if it's a voice message, if it's a normal message. So that's very nice, actually. I mean, personally, I don't have so many conversations at the same time that I lose track and I need to pin stuff. But I mean, for the people who do, nice feature. Probably a feature for the teenagers who talk to a billion of people at the same time 24/7. But anyway, so that's a feature that has been added. Another thing actually that I wanted to show you is somewhere else. Let me find it quickly. There it is. If we, and that's another big feature that Apple talked a lot about, and that's privacy. Apple wants to really focus on privacy, and what they have done in this version of iOS, I think, is really amazing, stellar thing. Now it is because this is a feature that I never thought about, and when I saw it the first time, I thought that's genius, because you think when you use WhatsApp, you use Facebook, for example, you use Messenger, whatever, and you want to send a photo. What do you have to do normally? On the first time, allow access to your library, right? And we all did it because, I mean, there's no other way, right? But what happens then? If you think about it, you give access, continuous, all the time access to all of your photos, not just the ones you're sending or you want to send, all of them, whether that be your personal photos, whatever, you'll give access to them. The company can look through them if they want to, which Facebook surely hasn't done yet. All right. And with this feature, actually, you have now another option, and that is just select photos. So what you can do is you can just give the app permission for a selected option of pictures. So you can say, no, I just want to send these 2 or 3 pictures, and you select those 2 and 3 pictures, and the app can only see those 2 or 3 pictures and no other pictures. That's a very nice privacy feature that I never thought about, but actually really nice to have. So nice that Apple actually added that. Another privacy feature that I really like is if you open an app, for example, we're right now here in the camera app, and you look up here on the top right corner, you see this little green dot, right? What is that green dot? Well, if we pan down, it shows me, hey, your camera app is right now using your camera. I mean, no shit, right? But yeah, this dot always appears, whether that is the camera, whether that is Snapchat, which of course also is using my camera. This dot always indicates, this app is using your microphone. This app is using your camera. This app is tracking you. This is, you know what? This always shows up. And as soon as this little, and I love that it's so subtle and so simplistic, but it's enough to get your attention, and it doesn't like obstruct it or is distracting. And as soon as you pull down, it says, Snapchat's using your camera. And it also works if you close the app. You see, if I close the app, dot goes away, and I push down, recently Snapchat used your camera. I mean, it's the little things, you know what I mean? It's really nice because it gives you a good overview of what apps do with your privacy. And I'm sure Mark Zuckerberg is freaking out as soon as he saw that, because that's not good for him, because I don't want to know what Facebook is doing, what Google Maps probably was like, oh no. So yeah, that's probably one thing. I'm going to talk about ARM Max if you want to. After I've shown iOS 14, we can talk quickly about that for sure. So I'm just thinking if there's anything I forgot. Yeah, there are some new features in Maps, like you can now, for selected cities, can do tours, where it can tell you, well, there's this sightseeing spot, this. Like, for example, what Google Maps has now. Apple Maps has it too, but I can't show it here because of privacy. You know, I don't want to show my location. You get it. And there's also now you can show bike routes. You can navigate through bike routes. That's a nice feature because I know my father, for example, he loves to do that. So that's a nice feature for him, which of course, again, it will take some time till it gets to Austria or other countries, but it will be added over time. So that's nice to have. And they're also improving their how do you say, they're improving their data material drastically. And I noticed that even here in this small village that I'm living in, the satellite image got updated. It's very crisp now, it's up to date, and Apple's working, all the streets suddenly that were missing before appear. So Apple's really working on perfecting Apple Maps, and I can really tell that. So that's very nice. All right. I think, yeah, I know, bike routes, Google Maps had it for years. I mean, at least it's coming now. So yeah, I think I've shown you everything in iOS 14. I'm just thinking if I forgot something. No? Oh, of course. I forgot about another actually bigger change, Siri. Now, you remember when Manfred called me, right? Now finally, when someone calls you, it doesn't obstruct the whole display. It doesn't take up the whole display. Same with Siri. Normally, if we use Siri, Siri would go full screen, and whatever we did, we couldn't do anything anymore. Now, if we open Siri now, this will happen. Wie wird das Wetter heute?
So wird das Wetter heute.
As you can see, Siri is just there's just a small newly designed Siri button, which I think is very nicely animated. I love this animation. I really like the way that it did. And also it just shows me the information I really want to see. It doesn't take up the whole display and just on the top shows me what I want to see. It just gives me the small notification and shows me exactly what I want to know. For example, and this changes also, the way it notifies me changes depending on the content. Erzähl mir einen Witz. So I ask Siri.
Womit endet die Ewigkeit? Mit T.
Manfred will love that joke. Siri has gotten a bit better when it comes to jokes. I have to say, I love the kind of jokes that she does. So I asked her, tell me a joke, and as you can see, then it changes the notification style to fit for the information that I just wanted from her. And what I think, maybe this is just a placebo effect, but I think it opens up apps quicker, and it's gotten way better at understanding English words when we talk in German. Because in German we have this problem that when we, for example, Siri is in German, and when I drive in my car and, for example, I say, I don't know, play Phil Collins, then sometimes, not always, she's gotten way better, but sometimes she might struggle because I say Another Day in Paradise, and she doesn't understand it because it's, she tries to figure it out with German pronunciation, and that's sometimes hit or miss. But here I think they really improved it, because all the apps that have an English name, for example, just thinking of some, Wetter Live.
Aktuell regnet es und 15
Oh,
Grad.
wait, I have of course to say Öffne Wetter Live. I have, of course, to say Open Weather Live. So see, that worked. I could say Öffne One Football. So that was a very English word, and you see it instantly open, not a problem at all. Let's just take one more. Öffne Twitch. Instantly. So that's very nice. So very nice. I have to say, I think Apple improved in that way. Siri, maybe, I think Siri is faster. And then there's one more thing, and Manfred will get annoyed again, but I promise, Manfred, this is the last time. You can now finally send voice messages with Siri. Yes. I don't know about you guys, because I use CarPlay a lot. And when I wanted to send a message via car, sometimes it was hit or miss. If I was on a highway, it could happen that I was pronouncing what I wanted to say, or say, hello Manfred, dot, this is me, dot, I don't know what I would write now, but you know what I mean. And sometimes Siri would misunderstand me, and then those funny translation errors would happen. And then I would try to correct myself, and I look away from the road because I got distracted because it didn't work. And making messages got way better, but it still was a bit hit or miss. And I remember I even told Manfred, and I said, why can't we just send voice messages via Siri? I mean, it would be so easy. She just would have to know that I want to send a voice message, listen to what I have to say, and just send it as a voice message. It would be way easier, less distracting, and it would work every time almost. And finally, Apple has listened to me, and it's now here. Of course, for now, on the beta, we only have it for iMessage, but I'm sure as soon as this gets released as the Gold Master or as full release, then all the apps like WhatsApp, Messenger will surely support it. So I can't wait for that, I have to tell you. But I can show you how this will look. Sende Manfred eine Sprachnachricht.
Okay, wird aufgezeichnet.
Hello Manfred, once again, but this time, the last time, another voice message from your mate.
Perfekt. An Manfred senden.
Exactly. So
Okay,
you see,
sie wurde gesendet.
you see how easy and straightforward that actually was. I just said to Siri, make a voice message, send a voice message to Manfred. She said, fine. And then she starts listening. And here's the one caveat, the one thing you need to know. You need to start talking. Don't stop talking once you started. Once she starts listening, you need to talk in one go. If you can't talk, make a little slight pause and then continue. Because as soon as you stop for 1 second, Siri might think, oh, you're done, and she stops the voice message. So before you do a voice message, think about what you're talking about, and then just talk in one loop. Because as soon as you stop, Siri will stop the voice message. But anyway, I love that finally Apple has added this feature. Thank you. And with that, I think I've shown you everything that's new in iOS 14 Beta 1. And I have to say, wow, Apple, wow. Because, and I know this might sound drastic, but in my opinion, this is probably the best beta I have yet used. And not because, I mean, yes, I have to say it's been some time since since I liked an OS upgrade that much, because iOS 14 is actually quite a major update, I would say. Because let alone from the widgets and from the new app drawer, it also, Manfred just sent me probably, so yeah, probably from the app drawer, everything feels a bit more fresh again. It feels like iOS has really changed a bit again. And I really like that. And why I say also it's the best beta I've used yet, and that's probably the biggest factor also is, yes, I really like iOS 14. I didn't think I would like it that much. Like, I don't want to miss it anymore. I want to have my widgets in my life, you know what I mean? The thing though is, I'm amazed at how well this beta works. I don't know, maybe Manfred can chime in and tell me how well iOS 14 beta 1 runs on his SE, because he's probably been using it for some time now too. But on the iPhone 11, which I get, it's the best supported phone right now. But anyway, it goes like nothing, like butter. There are almost no bugs. There is one bug. There's really just one bug that I've noticed, and that is that sometimes the weather widget displays the wrong location. I mean, that's not a big bug. Like, as soon as you close the phone and let it be there for some minutes, it changes and it's fine again. So that's not a big bug. I mean, it's the first beta. Like, this is not a big bug. And yes, there were some slight, like very slight bugs with some third-party apps, but like that's it. You know what I mean? That's just some support bugs. But apart from that, it just amazes me. I'm daily driving iOS 14 beta 1, beta 1. And it almost feels like a release. Do you know what I mean? And that's the crazy thing about it. It feels like almost like a release. That's how stable and perfect it runs. I mean, the thing is, when I used it first, I thought the first feeling I got was my phone got faster. And I still think that. I think they increased the animation speed a bit, decreased the animation speed a bit. Because the phone feels snappier. And again, Siri got faster. And in the end, I have to tell you guys, I love how iOS 14 is shaping up to be. I'll, of course, make a video if the next beta is gonna have like big improvements or changes. I'll make an update. But I have to say, for now, I'm really impressed. And yeah, and see, Manfred also mentioning this, and this amazes me even more, because honestly, I thought, I mean, yes, that everything runs smooth. I mean, honestly, I expected like the picture-in-picture feature or the widget to bug a bit because it's a new feature, right? But it just works perfectly, you know? But I thought, okay, but on the iPhone 6s or iPhone SE, probably picture-in-picture might lag a bit or something like that, you know what I mean? But as Manfred here writes, and he showed me that, it just doesn't, it just works. On the oldest supported devices, it's incredible. And that's the kind of thing, I think it's a big buying argument with Apple products. The software support and the refinement of the software nowadays is amazing when it comes to Apple products. I mean, you have to think about this. This is the first beta. This is the very first beta. And it's running already that stable. I mean, if the beta 1 is running that good, what will be what must be the release like? You know what I mean? So just check up on all the messages that have just been written. I haven't used it that much. Okay, yeah, exactly. Much better than I expected. Yeah, that's the same feeling that I also got. Even CarPlay, by the way, I've used it too a couple of times now. There actually, I have one thing that I want to mention. Apple changed the music picture, the music view in CarPlay a bit. Now you remember, maybe if you have CarPlay, you know normally there would be the thumbnail, the cover on the top, and then title and timeline on the bottom throughout the whole screen. I loved the way that looked. And now they changed it so you have a way bigger cover picture and it's on the left, the right, and the other half is the title, and the timeline only goes to the half of the display. I'm not sure. I like that it also has these color transitions, so the color also changes according to the cover art. I like that. I mean, there was a thing on CarPlay that existed already before, but now it's even more. I really like that. I also like the transition of colors when you swap songs. That's very nice. But the alignment, I'm not sure. I think they'll change it because it doesn't look that nice. But that's really the only thing in iOS 14 where I say, okay. But even CarPlay runs stable. And I remember times because I think it was iOS 10 or 11, no 10, where they made big improvements to maps, and I wanted to test it out, and I started maps on beta 1, and oh my god, it was a bug fest. Like the maps app crashed, and there were bug interfaces and bugs in the interface, and like there have been other betas as well, so I just have to appreciate how well this beta already runs. So just look at what the other people wrote. iPhone 6s. Yeah, the iPhone 6s and the SE in general are kind of the same when it comes to performance. They're definitely the same. I think the SE just has a little bit less features than the iPhone 6s. For example, I think the 6s has the Taptic engine and the SE not. I might be wrong about this, but I think. Yeah, we were at the ARM Max, so let's change topics now. ARM Max, because Adam wanted to talk about it. Hey Pierre, by the way, thoughts about the MacBook Air 2020? Okay, let's just first do Adam's topic and then yours. ARM Max, big deal. I think it's a very big deal. I mean, Manfred, we talked about this actually. Videos up in my channel actually. We made a Matecast directly after the keynote, and we talked about this. We both think this is probably one of the biggest things to happen to MacBooks yet, or to Macs yet, because if we think about how much power Apple is putting into mobile devices, I mean, the new iPad Pros have a processor inside that rivals i7s. I mean, that's just crazy to me. And when you think about that, this processor in the iPad isn't even cooled. I mean, it's cooled passively, and it's power-wise an i7. It's crazy, you know? And when you think then that they're now making a processor designed for a laptop with cooling. By the way, Apple, please, with cooling, okay? I know you now have ARM and you're tempted to make the Macs now even thinner and even less cooling, but I tell you what, if there will be a fanless MacBook Pro, I'll flip shit. I'll drive to Cupertino. I'll confront you, Tim Cook. Don't do it. I know you're tempted. Don't do it. Yeah, so I think this is a very big thing. If they actually do good cooling, awesome designed ARM CPU for the Mac, this will be huge. I mean, I can't imagine, and I have to tell you, and I even told Manfred, as soon as the first ARM Mac is available, I have to test it out. I really want to see the difference. I want to see the performance, because I think this must be day and night. I think this might finally solve the whole overheating problem. I mean, yes, Apple could just put in better cooling, but at least it will be solved. So anyway, I think it will be a big deal, honestly, a really big deal. I'm interested if Apple will go like 8-core and stuff like that as well. Really interesting to see if they also go 8-core, probably. So yeah. Okay, so now, hope that answered your question, by the way. And now we're talking about the MacBook Air 2020 i3. Well, I don't know about the price right now. Actually, let me just look because I can't remember the price. Wasn't it 1,100 something? I think, or let me just look. 1,000. How much was it? 1,000. 1,000. No. Oh, 999 actually. So, for 999 bucks, yeah, an i5 would have been nice. I agree. The thing is with the i3, I mean, it depends. Like if you are a student again and you don't do a lot web browsing and stuff like that, and maybe very rudimentary full HD 60 FPS editing in Final Cut A, you can do it. Even the i3 nowadays can do this easily. I saw a video where the guy did that and tested that, even did Photoshop, and it worked. Yes, I'm saying it worked on Photoshop. We're talking rudimentary editing. You can't go full detailed editing with an i3. That just doesn't work. But yeah, for the daily stuff that most people do, surely it's enough. But yes, I agree. For the price, they could have put in an i5. Finally, we have a good keyboard. Thanks Apple, or better keyboard. I still think the MacBook Air 2020, the MacBook Air 2017, mine has the better keyboard. Just put in the old keyboard, Apple, at this point. I mean, honestly. And yeah, so MacBook 2020, I think MacBook Air 2020 even has improved cooling. You might be wrong about this. You can even get an i7, which is kind of crazy, probably overheatception, but hey, I think I would actually say wait, hold for now, because if you're thinking about buying a new MacBook, if you don't need it right now, because I think the MacBook Air will be probably one of the first Macs to be refreshed, and I can't wait to see what a MacBook Air with ARM will be huge in my opinion. So if you don't need it right now, I would say wait for the ARM MacBook Air. I think that will be a huge thing. That will be a really huge thing, right? A very huge thing that make the MacBook Air really worth it. What are we talking about here? So what I would say just about the MacBook Air still, because this is kind of the main thing here on my channel, the MacBook Air, my most popular series. I would say if you just do web browsing, mail, live stream watching, video watching, if you don't do anything graphically intense, or if you don't do anything that needs a very color accurate sharp display, just buy the MacBook Air 2017. Honestly, then you don't need the MacBook Air 2020. Just honestly, my opinion, then you just don't need it. But hey, the speakers, by the way, are really great in the MacBook Air 2020. Yeah, that's one thing that Apple does really well. MacBook speakers. That's true. But still, if you don't have a very hard workflow, just get the 2020. The 2017. What do we have here? I agree about the price for most people. Of course, but historically, even the cheapest MacBooks. Yeah, we were talking about that. Apple's a greedy company. Yeah, they can be greedy. They can be very greedy. I agree with you, Manfred. And yeah, yes, I agree. There will be this year. We will get an iMac redesign. Apple, if you make an iMac redesign and you even think about putting a hard drive again into it, we're in 2020. Get rid of the hard drive option. Like honestly, and don't give me the whole fusion drive shit. Like honestly, give me a normal SSD. I mean honestly, and maybe upgradable SSD, but I think I'm asking too much here. No, I'm asking definitely too much. Yeah, I agree, Adam. SSD all the way. Now the macOS is even designed for an SSD, so I don't even get why you would. Yeah, I don't think cooling is improved. Maybe the new CPU. Yeah, that's true, Manfred. Now that you know, you're saying that right. The heat pipe isn't connected to the fan. I mean, was this MacBook still designed by Johnny Ive? I mean, I think he's still no, or no, probably partly because the MacBook Air 2020 surely was in designing stage already when he was still in Apple. But I mean, did Johnny Ive just take a nap while designing it? Did he forget about that? I mean, how about we connect the heat pipe with the fan, Apple? That would make sense. Put more ports on the MacBook redesign. we're asking definitely too much here. I tell you honestly, yes, we hear MacBook Pro redesigns will happen, and I know, and I think that they'll, because now that we're switching to ARM, that gives Apple the opportunity to make new redesigns, new processor, new looks. Would make sense. They're even doing that with macOS. We have now macOS 11 because, ARM, big step, which makes sense. I get it. But I don't think it will happen, to be honest with you. The MacBook Air, how many? The MacBook Air with 2 USB-C ports, right? I mean, Adam, do you mean USB-A ports? Could that be? Because I think the MacBook Air is 2 USB-C ports. I think you have the MacBook Air with the lowest port variety, with the lowest port count, with like 3 ports. You have 2 USB-C and 1 headphone jack, and then you have the Pros, which also the smaller ones have 2 ports and 1 headphone jack, and the bigger ones have 4 ports and 1 headphone jack, but all USB-C. You know what I don't get? First of all, I mean, I've talked about this a million times already, but how about, I'm not even asking for a USB-A at this point, because let's face it, we won't get it. Let's be really honest here. No, USB-A won't come back, even though Apple knows that it's still the standard. It won't come back, because if there's one thing that Apple doesn't like, it's telling us that they did a mistake, realizing that they made a mistake. They won't tell us. They will only tell us if they're really pushed to do it. Maybe a mix of, again, I fully agree with you. The best design, I told Manfred when there was rumors going around that the MacBook Air was being redesigned, I told Manfred, like, honestly, take the case of the MacBook Air 2017. Slim the bezels. Do it. Sure, make it more modern. Give it the Retina display. Sure, of course. But leave the thickness, you know what I mean? Leave the case shell like it is, and just put in way better processors, because it's thicker, you know what I mean, than the MacBook Air, newly designed MacBook Air, and it's just way better. It's like just a few millimeters can make so much difference in cooling of a CPU. Why change something that's just so timeless? I mean, honestly, I think the MacBook Air mid-2017 design still is more iconic, and it will be more iconic than today's MacBook Air design. Because, in my opinion, the Mac lineup just lost its creativity, because all the Macs look the same. All the MacBooks, they're all the same color. They're all very slim, and you can kind of almost no one has a glowing Apple logo, and no bong, and it's always it kind of feels the same when it doesn't really matter whether you use a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. It all feels the same kind of. So that's a bit of a shame, I think. They should go back to a more diverse set of Macs. For example, Apple tried to do the MacBook again in 2015. I know the MacBook at this point is a running joke here with me and Manfred, but why can't Apple give us? I know. Why don't give us, for the MacBook, do another cheap MacBook. For example, give it the outer shell of the old MacBook Air. Give it a Retina display. Give it, I don't know, last year's processors. Call it a day. Sell it for 700 or 600. Sells like hotcakes. Tell you now, 700 sells for hotcakes, like hotcakes. Why not? I don't get it. Or give us, for example, I wouldn't even bitch if Apple gave us at least one USB-A. Give us one USB-A, one USB-C. Perfect. All I need, but it's just the thought of having to take an adapter to plug in a normal USB. It's kind of insane to me. Or the most funny thing, you buy your fancy iPhone 11 and you can't plug your iPhone 11 into your MacBook. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of crazy. And then with iPhones, Apple doesn't add USB-C. I don't fully get it, to be honest with you. What's their goal here? Well, desktops they can't afford. Yeah, that would be insane to remove the USB-A, and they know that they can't remove USB-A on a desktop, because why? You need it and even more on the desktops. I mean, come on. So yeah, but on laptops they have been doing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's been now 5 years almost since they've done that. MacBook in general, a running joke with us. Yeah, it's true. There's the current MacBook lineup. I mean, the thing is, the last MacBooks that came out give me hope because they're improving now with the keyboard situation, and like the 16-inch MacBook Pro has way better cooling and everything because it's bigger. Just give us better cooling, focus more on power and performance, and not always on looks. Apple, give us functionality. And one thing, please, that's not much to ask. SD slot. I mean, come on a MacBook Pro. I mean, come on. They're marketing the MacBook Pro for the prosumer with graphic cards and all of that, who does video editing with his fancy red camera and everything, and then they don't add a USB-C SD card slot for the Pro to put in his SD card. And then I don't know, and some people then are like, oh, just transfer the files over the air. Sure, I'm gonna transfer my 4K 50 gigabyte file over the air. I mean, do you know how long that takes? No. So yeah, just bring it back. Yeah, I know, Manfred. That's the goal. That's the whole goal about it. Just adapter mania, because then they get more bucks. It's the same with this. The lightning to headphone jack. I mean, the same thing, exact same thing, right? I mean, exact same thing. You buy it, yes, sure, it's just $9, which is really cheap for an Apple adapter, but this just made to like get on your nerves a bit. Because you have to buy it. I mean, there are things like this too. I mean, there's HDMI adapter for your iPhone, which this is really useful, I have to say. But yeah, on MacBooks, just give me my USB-A. Come on. MacBook Air 2017 is superior. I agree. I still recommend the MacBook Air 2017. Always will. Still an awesome laptop. I haven't regretted it once. I mean, just think about it. I mean, I've been editing full 8, and people are just saying, oh, the MacBook Air in 2017, you can't do anything with it. It's just bullshit. It's literal bullshit. I'm editing full HD 60 FPS videos on Final Cut on the MacBook Air. That just works. You know what I mean? Just works. Doesn't it, like, you can't even hear the fans while editing. Everything goes buttery smooth. I can even edit 4K 60. I'm not joking. On Final Cut, and it just works. Yeah, sure, while rendering I have to wait longer, of course. Yeah, sure. But, I mean, wow, if I'm not a pro who needs it to be as fast as possible, it doesn't matter, to be honest. So yeah, MacBook Air 2017 for the win. Isn't it even here in the picture? Yeah, there it is. No, wait, how do I have to point? There. No, actually not. It's there. Yeah, MacBook Air. Air 2017 is one of the best Macs ever made. Fully agree. Fully agree. Yeah, yes, replaceable SSD. I'll do this also once, but for now, I thought about doing a video on this, and I will. As soon as I will update an SSD on my MacBook Air, which you can in the 2017, I think 2013, and also, or 2013, 14, 15, 16 should also work, right? I'm not quite sure, but I think, yeah, because it's the same design. Maybe 10 and upwards, right? 2010 and upwards should all work the same. Kind of the same when it comes to SSD upgrades. I was getting nervous for my online classes since my MacBook was the 2017 one, and after some contemplation I realized that I didn't need the USB. Yeah, I mean, the thing with the USB-C ports, again, power-wise, I always say this, and I had this recently in the comment section, because there are two major, like the people that hate on the MacBook Air in 2017 have only two main arguments. The first one is always the screen. Oh, the screen. The screen's so bad. You can't. It's just, the resolution. Oh, not full HD. And, you know what I mean? And the colors. And not HDR10. And you know what I mean? Not OLED. And, it's still a great display. I defend this. And, and I'm the guy that's using an iPhone 11 with probably one of the best displays, LCD displays I've ever seen, with HDR10 and Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision. That's what I mean. And and I'm looking at the MacBook Air display, and I'm like, awesome display. So I don't know. Whoopsie, sorry guys. Again, as I told you, living in a household, sometimes someone walks in. Hope that didn't annoy anyone, or you didn't got weirded out. No, that happens. Okay. Yeah. The iPhones aren't even USB-C yet. Why should the Mac? Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I heard that Apple just wants all the the iPhones to switch to wireless from the get-go. So I honestly, I mean this. There are even rumors that soon there will be an iPhone without a port and just with a kind of how do you say, with a kind of MagSafe like port. There are rumors that this will be as soon as next year, maybe. We'll see. I mean, I can't imagine it. I mean, if they pull something like MagSafe kind of connector, I mean, it doesn't change really, because now we also have like this proprietary connector, so that doesn't really change anything, and would just improve water resistance. So that wouldn't be that big of a problem, in my opinion. But if they would remove the ports entirely, which they plan to do, I mean, just imagine nowadays. I mean, wireless is not the standard at all. I mean, nowadays that would be so annoying if you were forced to use wireless charging. So I think that'll still take some years, and I hope Apple isn't pushing on that like they did with USB-C, because that could be catastrophic for them. If they make, if they would make an iPhone now without ports, I think it would sell really badly, because that's just annoying. Patty, you're from the Philippines. Welcome and hello and greetings from Austria. Nice that you're here. Philippines must be really early then for you, or? I always forget how the time zones go. Probably it's in the morning over there. So yeah. Same with my iMac replaceable SSD processor. So probably, Adam, you have one of the Retina? Am I wrong now? No. The one of the older ones, right? Before the Retina iMac, or am I wrong now, Manfred? You have to tell me. I'm not the perfect expert on the iMacs. Can you still like remove the SSD on the Retina iMacs? I'm not sure. No, I don't think so, right? The RAM, yeah, I'm sure. The RAM for sure. Processor, I heard too. But I'm not sure about the... It's 3 a.m. here. Oh, wow. Thanks for still being here, even though it's that early. Or late, depending on how you look at it. Damn. So yeah, I fully agree. The whole MacBook situation, we'll see. We'll see how it'll turn out. But I think when it comes to I think the whole switch to ARM will help Apple a lot when it comes to that, because then they can fix all the annoying performance problems, because Apple, they're really persistent. If they think a Mac should have as less cooling as possible, then they'll do it, and they don't care. And if it hurts performance, as you see, we'll switch to ARM. So that's how Apple sees it. So I think ARM will improve this a lot. Regarding the port situation, I think we have to deal with it. Again, I would, if Apple adds SD card slot on the MacBook Pro, I'm the first one to say, you know what I mean? I'll be the first to make a video and praising Apple and kissing Tim Cook's shoes, you know what I mean? But it probably won't happen, let's be honest. And USB-A, just forget it. I mean, USB-A isn't coming back. And as you said, Patty, I mean, I think Apple, when they made this switch in 2015, everyone said, oh yeah, but it's the future. Apple's looking ahead, you know what I mean? And even I said that, and I remember Manfred and I were saying, yeah, maybe in 5 years. And now it's been almost 5 years, and not even now. We're not even close yet to it being a standard. So I think Apple really miscalculated there. And the problem is, I think they just don't want to accept that. And they're just like, well, in some years it must be the standard, so we'll just keep it. I don't know. But I don't think there are a lot of people that are defending the whole adapter situation, because it's really kind of annoying if you think about it. I mean, you buy a $2,000 MacBook Pro, and then you have to like get an adapter for plugging in the USB-A. I mean, or get an adapter for an SD card slot. I mean, don't know. So yeah. So that's, wow, we really went into a rambling mode when it comes to the whole Apple situation. But one thing maybe that I'll add is that I think I'm hopeful for the future, because I think things are looking up. I think it wasn't a bad idea. I think, even though I really like Phil Schiller, he's a very nice, Phil Schiller is awesome. I really love him. But I think it wasn't too bad. It's not a bad idea that he's now in marketing, and that Johnny Ive made his own company, because as much as I really adore them, and as much as Johnny Ive's designs have kept being timeless for years now, I must say, I think in the last years, I think that here and there they miscalculated. If you think about the Mac Pro, the last Mac Pro 2013, there was a big miscalculation on their part, or the 20, or the whole thinness aspect. I'm sure that that's probably Johnny Ive, because Johnny Ive loves things that are thin and silent, and Johnny Ive and Steve Jobs always agreed. They were always on the same level when it came to design and how everything had to be in work. And Steve was always also very keen on laptops being silent, and even if that hit performance, it's better if they're silent. They cannot be loud. And I think Johnny really also he and that's that's the rumor. He didn't say it, but the rumor is that Tim Cook is, and I can fully see that Tim Cook is more of the businessman that wants to bring Apple further, that wants to get the stock prices up, that wants Apple to get as successful as possible. And he's not as much into innovating and making things different than Steve was. And I think that's what annoyed Johnny Ive. He got a bit tired with designing the same stuff over and over. So yeah, and I think what did the rumor say? The rumor was that the last product that Johnny Ive really enjoyed working on was the Apple Watch, because it was something really different. So yeah, that's kind of interesting. But we'll see where Apple will go. That's kind of my hope, that now that we have a fresh leader in engineering, that maybe they'll switch back to more, to a good balance of performance and design. That's what I'm hoping for. And yeah, by the way, one thing that I'm really interested in, I have to mention is, yes, I will make, Manfred and I will make a reaction video on macOS Big Sur, the beta one. But it'll just take a bit, because we'll meet in next week. And then we'll do this, But, then it takes a bit. But there will be a video on our channel on Macintosh Man. So go check it out if you want to. We do a lot of funny videos there as well. So check it out. So yeah, well, there will be a reaction video on macOS Big Sur as well. And macOS Big Sur is also really interesting to me. I just saw a video, by the way, from Crazy Ken. macOS iOS edition. Oh yes, you're right. That's exactly what I wanted to mention. You can definitely see that Apple tries to merge iOS with macOS and make everything kind of the same experience, so that going from iOS to iPadOS to macOS feels fluid and the same. And I get the idea, I get the approach. And like for example, the switch from macOS El Capitan, was it? The last one before Yosemite? No, I'm completely wrong, am I? Which one was the which macOS version was the last one before Yosemite? Mountain Lion was 8. El Capitan was 9, or? No, El Capitan was 11, right? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, but the switch from Mavericks, yes, thank you, Mavericks was it. Right. Because Mavericks, that was quite a big jump, and I like that. I like that merging of apps, of everything getting more flat and iOS-y, if you want to say. But I just saw a video of Crazy Ken actually just before the live stream on the design of Big Sur, and I'm really interested to see it for myself, because when they announced it and I was looking at the design, because that's probably the biggest feature about macOS Big Sur, everything looks really drastically different. I was looking at the design, and Manfred said the same. Maybe he wants to chime in on that, but I was thinking, it looks a bit too much. You know what I mean? Too much, too colorful, too flat. No, not too flat. Too translucent. For example, the control center. If you edit the control center, I think this is the first time that I say something is too translucent, because normally I love the translucency feature look that we have on macOS and on iOS. I really love that, but I think it's a bit too much even. And I saw today Crazy Ken's video, and again I have to see it for myself, but what he showed me, I agreed. Some of the icons, and I don't get this, because Apple went for the approach to make some icons flat, or some designs very flat and very minimalistic, but in the same way some icons look a bit skeuomorphic, like iOS 6y, you know what I mean, a bit more 3D. And it's in this uncanny valley where it's a bit flat, but then a bit 3D, and you're like, what is it now? You know what I mean? And it doesn't fit thematically, you know what I mean? You have like iMessage, the iMessage icon that looks 3D and more skeuomorphic, but then you have the overall design that's very flat and simplistic. I mean, some people are mentioned, even he mentioned it, there are like some alignment problems and animation inconsistencies right now with Big Sur, but I would say that's just because it's a beta. The QuickTime icon is definitely the ugliest. I don't actually know how it looks. I can't right now think about it. I have to see it for myself. I know, but the Finder looks a bit weird. I must say the Finder looks a bit weird. It's not because it's rounded off. Yes, you have to get used to that too, but something with the face doesn't feel fully right. Yeah, I think too, Manfred. It's something where you just have to get used to it. That's probably the biggest thing, and I think another big part that plays into that is that the background that they showed when they presented macOS Big Sur it didn't help with the feeling of it being very colorful and bubbly and childish, kind of childish. So I think if you change the background to, I don't know, some Big Sur, the island or the place there, and you change it to dark mode, I think then it will look less childish and way better. Probably I'm not used anymore to OSs that aren't in dark mode, because I have everything in dark mode that's possible. Don't know about you guys, but I love dark mode. I'm currently on Mojave, but would you recommend that I update to Catalina? I had lots of bad things. I mean, I guess you're on the 2017 MacBook Air. I think you're talking about that, right? Don't know if you have other Macs, but I mean, for myself, yeah, exactly. I agree with you, Manfred. Thank you for mentioning. if you need any third-party program or program that has 32-bit, don't do it, because Catalina kills support for 32-bit software. So if you have anything like that, don't do it. If you don't need any 32-bit, I mean, then it doesn't matter, but that's an important information. Thanks for mentioning. That's again a thing where I'm like, why Apple? That's exactly Apple's mindset, 64-bit all the way. And because we think like that, you have to deal with that. And just leave the support in there. Like, yeah. I had to downgrade a friend's Mac because of that. He needed an application. Oh yeah, damn. Yeah, that's unfortunate because most people probably don't even know. I mean, actually, I didn't even know. I was just lucky that I didn't need an app that was 32-bit anymore. But yeah, most people probably don't even know while updating. So that's actually quite important there. Yeah, I mean, you could do that too. Yeah, just use Boot Camp. I mean, yeah, that's one option you could do if you have enough storage. Yeah, sure. So that's one thing you could do, yeah. Yep, rip those apps, yeah. Yeah, Adobe. Adobe, yes, Adobe. I'm really interested when they showed Adobe apps working on ARM, or when they said that Adobe is working on their apps already being ported to ARM. I was like, I know why they did that, because Adobe always takes so long to update something to a new standard. So they were like, okay, do it now already so that you're done by the time we release the first ARM Mac. I am really excited, by the way, just switching back to the topic, I'm really excited to see ARM Macs on Final Cut. I think that performance will be insane. That editing performance, that rendering performance, with Apple being able to perfectly design the processor for macOS and all its programs, that performance boost will be incredible, I think. So yeah, macOS. Interesting other thing, by the way, did you guys hear that we'll get one more thing soon? Soon. I think they've actually pushed it back now, because Apple is making an Apple Glass, if you haven't heard. I literally gasped when Craig said, we've got a secret, we've been showing you demos on the... Yeah, true. Yeah, I was actually also... It was such a weird feeling, because this was one of the really bigger announcements. I mean, this is probably the biggest announcement in years. It felt... That's probably why the WWDC this time felt so much more major. Because that's a really big thing. Some people don't realize this, but switching to ARM is a big thing, a really big thing. It's like the switch from PowerPC to Intel. I would even argue even bigger for Apple, I think. It's a big game changer for them, I think. And I just can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait for the first MacBook. I can't wait for the first... I mean, just imagine an iMac Pro with ARM, like the full on, like, I don't know, 20 core ARM. Oh, holy shit. Or a Mac Pro with ARM. It would be interesting to see how good they can be, because surely Apple wants to be one of the best, if not the best. It would be interesting to see how, because yes, I'm sure, I'll say it now, I think they will beat Intel in terms of performance. But I'm not sure. It will be interesting to see how close they get to AMD, which is right now rocking the CPU department. That would be really interesting to see. And I'm also interested. It will be interesting to see which approach they go. If they also go more cores, or if they'll go less cores but more. Because normally Apple always is less cores but more power, because they always go to optimization. If you remember the earlier iPhones, that was the whole big thing back then. Like all the Android fanboys, I have to say fanboys because those were really fanboys, we're looking at your iPhone still has a dual core, but then the dual core performed better than the octa core of another Galaxy or whatever, or HTC. And the thing is, what a lot of people don't realize, and that's what, I mean, Apple did back then. Nowadays, CPU cores matter, of course, but back then it was like the most CPU cores, or still today, don't help you if your optimization is bad. I think that's where Apple really excels at, and that's also where ARM will really help them, because they can just perfectly design it and optimize it for macOS. Intel isn't innovating as fast enough, so they'll just, yeah, that's surely why. I fully agree with that. That's surely why they did it. Probably the main reason. The problem is developer side of things, because right now they said you can use Rosetta for programs that require it. Yeah, sure, yeah. That's the thing. The question is, how long will Rosetta be in there? Or will they just remove it with the macOS 11.1? With the next macOS, I don't know, macOS. After Big Sur, what will we have? Small Moon? I don't know. That will be interesting to see, yeah. Then developers will have to defer. Yeah, that will happen, yeah. Because, and Tim Cook said that, so only because they're now making ARM doesn't mean we have to all be scared, because there will be no Intel laptops anymore, or that they'll drop support for Intel soon. Don't worry, that'll surely take even, I would say, even probably up to 10 more years till there will be full-on no Intel support anymore, because we still have like 20 laptops that are with Intel, and they can't just unsupport them, because normally a Mac has around, how much, 7 to 8 years of support, and they can't just drop them like that. So a lot will just, yeah, that could be, because now you, with the ARM Macs, you can just run. That's also a major thing actually that I forgot actually. Thank you for mentioning, Manfred. You can even, because it's ARM now, you can play all the iPhone apps and iPad apps directly on your Mac from the App Store. I mean, then you have quite a lot of like indie games and smaller mobile games to also play on your Mac. That gives you a wide variety of games to choose from, and there are lots of very big and great mobile games out there now. I mean, a lot of shit too, but nowadays, because mobile devices are so powerful, you also have some awesome games. I mean, it depends. I mean, we can hate about Fortnite as much as we want, but it's amazing that it works on a phone in full HD 60 FPS, just technically. Yeah, Intel will stay for us sure for the next years. What do you mean with macOS Higher Sierra? Higher Sierra. I sorry, I didn't get the joke at first. Yeah, even higher Sierra, the highest Sierra. No, macOS bigger, sir. Even bigger, sir. Yeah, but I'm sure Intel is kind of scrambling right now. It's not like this will destroy Intel or something, but they'll surely get a significant dent in their income, because Apple is surely a very big partner of them, and Intel is really not doing well right now I mean, they're not doing bad, but they could do way better in the processor game right now. I mean, AMD is really taking the battle to them right now. I mean, just a random question, but have the fourth generation Ryzens already been released or announced? Because shouldn't those be the big, like, new socket? Or, yeah, sure, it was the fourth generation, am I right? That would be interesting. I mean, that would be even more crazy performance from AMD. Can't wait for that. Because nowadays I would really say, if I would build a new PC, AMD. I mean, it's not like I have bad performance. The i7 7700K that I have here in my main machine, I mean, way more than I ever would need. But still, if I would buy a new PC now, I would choose AMD, just because the price performance is just way better in comparison to the new Intel processors. Damn, I didn't expect that we would get into such a rambling mode today. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of where Apple's going. And we'll see how things will turn out. And I think the first ARM Mac we'll see in the end of 2020, and I'm really interested. Oh, okay, Ryzen 4000 series release has been postponed. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, kind of, that they would postpone it probably because they couldn't work enough on it because of the thing that we can't mention on YouTube. Why? By the way, just a thing, why can't we mention it? What's the big deal about it? I mean, why? What's YouTube's big deal about this word? I mean, yes, it's shit, it's major shit what's happening right now outside, but why can't we mention it? I mean, should we just all close our eyes and forget about it? Like the emoji, like, I don't know. Is that Google's mindset here? I don't get it. Okay, CES 2021, I'll see. That makes sense to do that. They should announce it at IFA 2021, mate. If they say they'll announce something at IFA 2021, I'll be there. First row. I'll buy a ticket for $200 if it has to be. Just imagine, I mean, an AMD Ryzen announcement. Damn, I would love to be at a big keynote. Would be amazing. Or I don't know, is Samsung, Microsoft that went? How crazy would that be? Just imagine. Or any company, BMW car announcement would be great. I would want to be there. But it's kind of sad because Manfred and I are actually going to be going on a road trip this year again. If you're a long-time viewer and also watch on Macintosh Man, you might know that we went already twice to Berlin for the IFA 2016 and 2018. We always go twice, every 2 years. And this year, sadly, the IFA will only take place for selected press people, because again, they need to limit people. They want to limit people so that doesn't happen. And no IFA this year, sadly, yeah. But maybe we'll just go next year again. I don't know, but that's just a wild thing. Maybe just for a couple of days, just to see the IFA. But we'll see, just to compensate. But that just talks about the future. That we'll see. We'll see. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, it will be interesting to see how technology evolves. That's what I wanted to say. Apple's actually working on a new big thing. If you heard, Apple's actually working on Apple Glass. Glasses for Apple. Also the MacBook. Oh my God, Adam! You know the MacBook SSD upgrade video in Berlin? Holy shit! You must be a long-time subscriber. That's awesome that you know this video. Damn, I'm impressed. That was 2016. Yes, that was Berlin. That was in the Glogauer Street, exactly. That was the ghetto. The ghetto MacBook SSD. I mean, did we show this? I don't remember. Did we show that in the video where Manfred and I actually... Because I mean, that's an awesome story. I'll tell this now. I mean, we've been going on and on, but this is just a great thing. You remember... we were in Berlin and we were at a Saturn. I mean, you probably don't know this shop, but it's a big tech shop here in the hood, exactly. It was Gangster's Paradise. And no, we were in a big tech shop in Berlin, and back then I just got my MacBook. It's wrong, my 28 MacBook. But I had it for quite some time, but there was still an SSD in there, HDD in there. And Manfred always told me, David, get an SSD. And I was always the guy, no, don't need it, it's fine, And he was like, no, get it. It will be a big difference. Then I bought it in Berlin, and we was like, hey, how about we upgrade it in Berlin? Ghetto-like, because we're in the ghetto, so that makes sense. Because and of course, because we're idiots, we didn't have a screwdriver, and yeah, we went to the reception down in the hotel and asked for a screwdriver, and the guy looked at us like, what are you guys doing inside your room? The sad thing was he didn't have the right screwdrivers. We tried to get the screws out with a knife, and oh god, it didn't work out, so I had to do it at home. But anyway, you have been subscribed since 2014, damn. Long time subscriber then. Probably since this time. Wow, the Steve Ballmer 8.1 unboxing. I love this company. We have to find a reason to do this again one day. I really want to do that again. Yeah, the developers develop. Yeah, that's what Apple needs right now. The developers develop. How amazing would it be if Tim Cook goes on stage, or would have gone on stage and said, oh, now we have ARMs and we need the developers develop. I would have probably fallen off my seat from laughing. I want the Microsoft keynote for just for shits and for just where Steve Ballmer does another keynote. Please, just come on. Just because it's so amazing. The guy just the energy. That's the thing, like Satya Nutella. I know he's called Nutella, by the way, if you don't get the joke. I just pronounce it a mistake because I'm funny, you know. No, Satya Nutella. I even do it not even on purpose anymore. Satya Nadella, there we go. Satya Nadella, he's a great CEO of Microsoft. I mean, you can see, just look at the stock. It's over 1 billion now in worth. It's crazy. Microsoft grew a lot under him, but he's not the kind of guy like Steve Ballmer. Say about him what in terms of CEO, what you want. I mean, he wasn't the perfect CEO. He did some misjudgments, some quite big misjudgments actually. If you think about Windows Phone, whoa, I think Microsoft doesn't even want to think about that. Or buying Nokia, also not their best decision. But the guy could, like, what Steve Ballmer really could do was an epic keynote. And that's kind of like Nadella is the exact opposite. Very good businessman who knows what's good for Microsoft, but not very the kind of guy that does the keynotes. You know what I want, by the way? We're talking about wishes. That won't happen probably. I want to have another video where Steve Ballmer and Bill Gates dance. If just give me that. Give me What Is Love and let Ballmer and Gates dance, and I'll be happy. That'll make my year, not even my day, not even my month, my year. Then 2020 is saved again. And that's, how much do you guess? 500. It has reversing. Yeah, it's just $99. Shit. It's an incredible value, but it's true. It's Windows from Microsoft. Legend. It's just so funny when you show this ad to people and they're like, who is that crazy person? And you're like, that's the CEO, former CEO of Microsoft. There, you're sure. Yeah. Take this picture of a Ferrari and paste it right into MS Paint. Yeah. I just love the old it just shows you how far we've come when back in the ads when people were like, it has a clock. Like this big main feature. You know what, by the way, when we're talking about keynotes, that kind of blew my mind how far we've come. It's been some time, but I've watched I think it was a WWDC where Steve Jobs showed, what was the first MacBook with Wi-Fi? A clamshell, right? Wasn't it a clamshell MacBook? Where he showed the clamshell MacBook and he showed the first Wi-Fi laptop and he like showed internet working and he held it around like it's the circle of life, you know. People were freaking out because it was Wi-Fi. And nowadays people, if Tim Cook would have done that, nowadays people would say, what's your deal? Yeah, Wi-Fi, great. Just crazy. I'm also, by the way, it's quite interesting when we're talking about old phones. I just have to look, by the way, because I'm right now in the process of getting old tech. Made a couple of deals. Oh, actually, 3 people replied to me. Oh shit! I forgot to respond to the guy. Wait, let me just respond. That's actually important. I forgot about that. You can write some topics while I have to type this in. Okay, now I can talk again. That was actually quite important. That's why I had to respond. Um, I'm actually in the process of making some sweet deals on some older tech. Cause I don't know if you know, you can see kind of in the background. I love to. I have quite a lot of iPhones, and I kind of want to collect those, especially the older ones. The problem is like I had. Oh wow, that was awesome, awesome. We have a deal. The thing is, I have. What do I want to say? I have the iPhone 4. That's my first ever smartphone. I can remember the day. Like, can you imagine? Like, that's also a thing that blows my mind of how we've come. You have to imagine. My first phone before the phone I had before my first smartphone, before the iPhone 4, was Sony Ericsson, like those flip phones. You know, and I remember like loading photos to that. You know, that kind of stuff. And and then I switched to the iPhone. It was like this magical thing. Oh my god, an iPhone, because back then, oh my god, because back then nobody had like a smartphone, and like the iPhone was like, oh, like this thing, and back then nobody had it, right? And then I got the phone. I was drooling, like, oh my god, I have the iPhone 4. And then I remember I'm making photos with it. I'm like, oh my god, I can touch the display, like shit like that. I was amazed by the simplest of things. Just, yeah. But anyway, I got the iPhone 4. Still to this day, I think one of the best designed iPhones. Just iconic design. iPhone 4S, I had that too. iPhone 5, iPhone 5S, actually my father had it. Yeah, had it because he he threw it into the sea. It's gone. iPhone 6 I had, 6S I had. By the way, before you think I'm the guy that buys every iPhone, till the 5th, I agree, I was that idiot bought every iPhone. Because till the 5th, I agree, till the 5th, I was an Apple fanboy. I fully accept that, and I stay to that. Till 2012, I was an Apple fanboy, but then things changed, like with the Mac Pro. I kind of realized Apple isn't perfect. But the iPhone 6, yes, I got that again. The iPhone 6S I actually only got because my mother had the iPhone 5, my old iPhone 5. My father had the iPhone 4S actually. And the problem was, while they were in holidays, actually their car was robbed and their phones were gone. And it was kind of shit. And then they asked me, well, my father bought a phone, the 5S, from his company. His company got him a new phone. And my mother said, well, how about you buy we share price. We share the price for a new phone. I'll get the new phone. She gets my phone. That's why I got the 6S. And then I think the next phone that I got was the 10. And wait, why did I get the 10? Yeah, again, the 10 was actually only because my father again dropped his 5S into the sea. And then he was like, how about we share prices? And I said, okay, I would really like the 10. And he's like, yeah, sure, if you pay half of it, why not? And I got the 10. And now again, with the 11. The thing is, my mother is here. I even have it because I want to repair it in use time. The iPhone 6 here. By the way, still the thinnest iPhone to date. I mean, just look at it, how thin it is. The iPhone 6 of my mother, the speaker, kind of how do you say, the earpiece kind of started to bug a bit. And that's why she said, it's very silent, I can't hear people a lot. And I said, well, I can fix it if you want to. And she's like, oh, but how about a newer phone? Like, sure. And she's like, again, can we like share price? I'm like, sure. And that's why I got the 11 and she got my 10. So yeah, that's why I have so many iPhones actually. And I just want to collect the other iPhones. And long story short, I think I made 3 deals now. Yeah, tomorrow, because I lost, I don't know why, and I kind of hate myself for it. I lost the iPhone 4. I lost it. And now because I want the iPhone 4 because it's just such an iconic thing. I made a deal, and you won't believe it, by the way, Manfred, in Hartberg. I made a deal over Willhaben in Hartberg. of an iPhone 4 and just thought I'll get it, and it was a nice deal also, and tomorrow I'll get it. That's nice. And I made 2 other deals actually. An Apple TV Gen 1, because Manfred and I are gonna tinker around with that, and I made a deal there. Very good deal actually, for $20. I can't say anything against that. I'll get that on the 1st in July. And also today I made another deal that I also gonna get on the 1st of July, and that is an iPhone 3G. Yes, the second iPhone, the iPhone 3G. I'm really excited for that one. And I got that also for, I actually, what do I say? I actually got it for, I think, quite cheap. I got it for $35. I think that's fine. And when you think about that, the seller one, that's $60. That's a nice deal, almost half the price. Because, I mean, the thing is, honestly, for me, $40 would have been the price where I'm like, but nothing more. And then the seller, and I just thought, let's just try it. And I said, well, how about 35? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, whoa. So that's why I got it. Actually, at first I said 35, then we said 40. We agreed on 40. And then he said, well, I can't find the loading cable anymore. And said, no worries, I have one, still a 30-pin one. And I said, yeah, okay, then because the loading cable isn't in, how about 35? And we agreed on that. Yeah, exactly. I think still the iPhone, I would argue, because phones really lose, in general, tech really loses its worth really fast. I would say the only iPhones that really still have any worth, I think 2G, of course. 2G is worth so much because it's like the first iPhone. It's actually quite rare because not a lot of people had it. And the iPhone 4, I think, is also quite still worth a bit because it's like this iconic design still. I think that the iPhone 10 might, I'm not sure, but it might retain some worth because it's like the 10th iPhone, like this this anniversary iPhone. Maybe, but I'm not so sure about that. But I think 2G will always stay. But just so funny, if you look at the prices, like 2G is $300 or something, and then you go to 3GS and it's like $30. It's interesting. Even though it's just 1 year apart, but it's just like the first iPhone, you know? It's kind of so funny. I just recently watched a video on the iPhone 2G and I realized something I never knew, how limited actually iOS 1.0 back then was. Like features that I'm just so used to it, just take it for granted, like over-the-air updates. Yeah, that wasn't back then. You got iOS 1.0, you had iOS 1.0 for the rest of your usage. Really? $20 for a decent one? Damn. Really? Damn. I wouldn't have thought that the iPhone 4 depreciated so much. I mean, I have to say, mine that I get tomorrow costs more, but that's because it's in like mint condition, like almost no scratches. So that's why it's more expensive. But yeah, used ones, you surely can get them cheaper. But $20, damn. It's interesting that they aren't worth anything anymore. You might think that there might be more worth. It's interesting. And you know, we're talking about collecting. One thing I would also really love to, like three things I would really love when it comes to Macs. If you know where to look, you can get them cheap. It's interesting. Now, I mean, I knew because I looked today, I knew that you can get them like for 30, 40, but 20, I didn't think that you would get that cheap. I mean, let's say it like that. I didn't find anyone at Wilhelm. Or probably you'll get them, but then very used, you know, with like the scratches on the back and stuff. Yeah. But anyway. But like Mac wise, there would be 3 Macs that I really would like to have, and they're all not really cheap. Like I want the first Macintosh. Oh, that would be so nice. You know, like the first Macintosh, just an icon, right? And like which iMac was it? The Pixar one. G4, right? iMac G4 was the one that swiveled around. I love this design. I think it's one of, if Apple would bring the exact design back, I'll be the first one to buy it. With like a modern big display, I'll be the first one to get it. I love this design. Pixel lamp kind of design. Love it. And yeah, iMac G4, right? You have that, right? Manfred, you have the iMac G4. I really am jealous because you have it. And what's the other one that I meant? The Cube. Yeah, the Cube. Just because technology-wise, I think the Cube is amazing. I know it was not successful at all because it was really expensive and did it have overheating problems? I'm not sure about it, but the Cube would be also really nice because it's also you recognize it immediately when you see it. The thing with, I mean, an Apple Lisa technology-wise would be really interesting because it's just like technology-wise, it's a major step, like the first laptop with a graphical user interface. But laptop, PC. But yeah, Apple Lisa's price. Oh my god, how about no? The cheapest cube in Austria. Yeah, I know, but without a power supply, that's annoying because you have it, you could use it, but of course, because it's Apple proprietary power supply, of course. Are there, like, to the people that are watching, are there any Macs or iPhones or stuff that you like to collect tech-wise? Really, cubes are really expensive here. Adam, maybe I've asked already, but where are you coming from? Would be interesting. Damn, I didn't expect that I would talk so long today with you guys, but cool. Cool that so many people are here. We have a little nice chat here. Around 400 pounds. Okay, so you're from Great Britain if you say pounds. Interesting. There's still one more deal that I might make, by the way, but I'm not sure because I don't want to spend too much money. I'm thinking about England. Yeah, I thought so. I'm thinking about also getting an iPhone 5 for really cheap. I found it already. I think it's also, no, it's actually somewhere else, a bit more far away, but that wouldn't be the problem. But yeah, because she's sending it too. But the thing, when you wrote me already, the thing with the iPhone 5 that I found is that it has a broken speaker, but that's a problem that I could fix easily. So I was thinking about getting it really cheap, buying a speaker and fixing that. That might be also an interesting video. So a video that'll surely, by the way, interesting if I'm going to leave now. Thank you for being here. Well, I'm great. Can't talk today. It's been too long. Happy that you enjoyed it and thanks for being here. Hopefully see you soon again. Have a good day or night. Night probably, right? Have a good night. But yeah, I think we'll conclude here soon because we're now almost at 2 hours then. So just a quick maybe look out for what's to come in the next days. I'll have some hacking videos up the pipeline. I might get my hands on an iPhone SE and we might change the battery. I think we will because a friend of a friend asked and I gave him a very good deal. Oh, you have to get up at 5 a.m. Well, mate, thanks for being here so long and have a good night. See you later. Yeah, what do I want to say? Yeah, so I'll probably get an iPhone SE and we'll make a video about swapping the battery. And the same goes here for the iPhone. No, not the same, but we'll swap the earpiece of the iPhone 6 one day. I'll just have to buy the earpiece. I mean, it's not expensive. So we'll do that too one day. And maybe then I can also fix the webcam of the iPhone 6, because it's a bit, you know, the iPhone 6 had some problems, and one problem was that you had this webcam drift. I don't know if I can show you. No, you can't really see, but the webcam is a bit slit a bit. It's not perfectly in the middle, so I might fix that too if I fix the earpiece, because anyway I have to get the camera out. So I might do that. We'll also have a video about that. And yeah, so that's right now what's planned, and also a franchise review. Manfred and I will do a Saw franchise review. That's just a big spoiler here. So if you know Saw and you're a fan of it, franchise review coming up in the next weeks. All right, and I think now, perfect, 2 hours. We're gonna end the stream now. I wanna thank you all for watching. Thank you. It was a very nice and great stream. Really nice. I didn't think it would be that long and that so many people would chime in. Thank you for all being here. I really appreciated it. Hope you enjoyed. If you really enjoyed, hit subscribe. Yes, I got the plug in there. So yeah, that was the video. More to come. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys in the next one.